I think for Francis, a good deal of it was not just the possessions or lack thereof, but a lack of attachment to the possessions, a lack of a sense of having to have these. Most of us who will be writing and reading, most of us are going to have things. We can't avoid it. It's necessary in our society. If we're parents, it's necessary insofar as we're able to provide safe homes for our children, to have them go to good schools, to enable them to have laptops so they can do virtual classes, but also be recognizing of the digital divide that's for what some of us take for granted is a luxury for others. And a recognition that for poverty, for us who have things, is the willingness to say, how much do I really need? How much do I really need? Francis still ate, although simply. He wore clothes, although simple ones. Clare created a little monastery outside of town that had certain requirements for survival. But how much do we need? And recognizing that we can be much more generous personally than we are, that we need to listen to what the Spirit is telling us when the Spirit tells us to let go of something, when the Spirit tells us that we can live without that extra money here, that when the Spirit tells us that even though we may not be going to the soup kitchen these days, that we can be part of our congregation's gift card program, that we can be giving gifts. And of course, this is more than personal generosity. Personal generosity is absolutely essential. We need to be generous people in our time and talent and treasure, but we also need to encourage our institutions to be generous. The wealthy don't have to justify their wealth, but often the poor have to justify their poverty. And especially when they seek higher wages, better living conditions, or the government largesse that's automatically given to those who have wealth and power. And so we have to see our poverty as sort of consciousness raising, and recognize that at the end of the day, we stand before God with nothing but our spiritual lives. And that the wealthy and the poor all have to stand before God best as we can, faithful as we can, seeking to let go of what we don't need, seeking to create institutions that are generous in spirit and that are aware of the need to level things socially as much as possible, to live in the style of Jesus, to live in the style of Francis, to hang loose on what we own.